My studio is at street level in the South of Market district of San Francisco. I have lived and worked here since 2005. The outer wall of my studio is a large window over 11 feet high, the lower 7 feet of which is frosted, translucent glass. Day or night, I see the shadows and outlines of passers-by. I hear bits of their conversations. This is part of my daily life that I usually ignore as I focus on work, music, and friends. Another way I see this is that my studio has a large multimedia installation on that wall. In my building, the folks upstairs have city views, but at street level, I have a screen that presents glimpses of the random, deconstructed images and sounds of passers-by, glimpses of the energy of South of Market. Usually there is not enough information to know what is really going on outside without making major assumptions or sticking my head out of my frosted glass door. The same can be said from the outside looking in. Yet because inside and outside are next to each other, this adjacency creates an intimacy to what is otherwise an anonymous relationship between inside and outside. Only occasionally life on both sides of the glass come together. Friends knock at my door. If I am expecting them, I look for their outlines as they approach. Other times I have heard or seen the handle of that door jiggle as someone tries to open it during the day or in the middle of the night. A few times I have opened the door and seen a shadowy figure down the street trying to open other doors. One time I found a neighbor lost, thinking that my door was her door. Working late one night, with loud music running in the background, I was startled when I saw a face peering in on me from 8 feet above the sidewalk. A lady was hoisted on the shoulders of her boyfriend, looking in through the clear glass above the frosted panes. I invited them in and we had a short animated chat. We exchanged cards, and as they left I heard one say, "He has my card, so now he knows where I work." The anonymity of the frosted glass wall had been broken, yet quickly returned. I have walked South of Market for over 3 decades. In earlier times, it had wide streets full of fast cars interlaced with narrow, intimate alleyways. Strangely tilted and sinking buildings were all about. At street level, the residential and commercial buildings that did not cater to the general public were gated, heavily curtained, or had sheets of industrial stippled glass. Today, in the 21st century, large sheets of glass characterize many buildings in this area. Most of the tilted buildings are gone. Clear glass marks buildings that invite street life in. A market, a gym, an art gallery, a bakery, a brewery, a coffee house. Translucent glass conceals interior activity, breathing in outside light. Yet that activity does not want to be seen by and not known by the street. Nonetheless, these translucent walls give a suggestion of human life within. Here in South of Market, translucent glass conceals a robot shop, an online loan firm, the labs of Fitbit, a private sex club, or private living quarters from the street outside. In contrast, a street of solid blank walls can be a place of coldness and abandon. Such sidewalks suggest a more callous human life. The Death and Life of Great American Cities, written by Jane Jacobs in the 1950s, celebrated urban street life in dense cities. Jacobs depicted neighborhoods in which the streets were alive day and night. Her writing was a plea to save such districts that were being destroyed in the name of cleaning up declining inner cities. What goes on now in South of Market reminds me of what Jacobs loved. South of Market sidewalks have an ebb and flow that goes on almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Workers, concrete trucks, dumpsters, and cranes arrive for 7 a.m. work starts weekdays at construction sites. Folks leave their apartments and head to work while others come into the area to their workplaces. In the afternoon, people return home as the streets congest with commuting traffic. When the sidewalks eventually quiet down, the shuffling of homeless carts is more easily heard. But by mid-evening, especially from Wednesday onward to the weekend, loud, animated street conversations become the norm as folks venture to the South of Market's restaurants, clubs, and bars. This reaches a peak at 2 a.m. when California law stipulates that public places stop serving alcohol. For some 30 minutes after that, some of the loudest conversations are heard as pumped up, inebriated people return to homes, try to find their cars, or wait for rides. And just before sunrise, after a solitary person may stumble by, 7 a.m. arrives and the day starts again. I asked myself, what if I recorded these sounds that I heard from within my studio? I set up a microphone inside during a few days and nights in late 2017 and early 2018. I had no idea of whom I would record. When I looked at my computer afterwards, I noticed periodic sound spikes on the screen. I assumed that these would denote sections of audible conversations amid long stretches of background noise with no passersby. But instead, these were the sounds of car doors opening and closing as people got in and out of their Uber or Lyft rides. You may hear in the background skateboards, bicycles, motorcycles, police and fire vehicles, garbage trucks, and the yearly Blue Angel aerial flyover. Recordings capture perhaps only 20 feet of a sidewalk conversation that may have originated blocks away. I have cut and edited the conversations into a few seconds each and placed them one after the other, eliminating long, quiet stretches in between. Being recorded from within my studio, I do not have films of the people as they passed by talking. I have decided to play these sound recordings against footage shot outside on the streets and sidewalks at times other than when the sound recordings were made. So you will see feet and the outlines of people visually who were not the people you hear talking. It is a work day, 10:15 or noon. Workers from the construction project are taking their morning break or lunch camped out on the sidewalk in front of my studio.
Yeah, that's probably, I mean, you know, that job is not that big, but I don't think they ever, all the money they parqué un carro, güey, y luego me dice pendejo, pasaron los días y cuando me dije, ¿quién le pegó a mi carro? A ver, en la calle. Me bajó, güey. De pendejo le dije que yo era un pendejo. Ahí estaba todo. Hi, see you. Happy weekend, guys. Yes, sir.
South of Market is embedded in the San Francisco tech industry. 2 tiny startups began a decade ago within a block of my studio. You know them now as Airbnb and Yelp. Twitter, Uber, Square, and Pinterest grew up a few more blocks away. Many who now live here have lived many places. They may even consider themselves world citizens rather than San Francisco residents. And they tend to be in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. Some are extremely ambitious.
And yeah, like you teach from business, which is, yeah, it's exchange, or it's just like MBA costs that much. Like that seems to be the standard. I have no idea why.
To be honest though, it's hard to imagine knowing if you're going to be successful in the first year. I think for him what he did is he had 4 years.
Then you go to where money motivates you, and I don't really like that, and I need that to change.
So I know somewhere in there, and the ship date would depend on when we can get money from the client. We haven't had a money conversation, but we have a contract.
Gilsburg, whatever. Sonoma.
Yeah, you're
up north.
Okay.
I bet it's gonna be beautiful. I think tomorrow's
Yeah,
gonna
it should be super nice.
Yeah. It's chilly, man. Holy shit, it's cold.
It's really warm up there, except for tonight.
It'll be cool to go there. I don't know. The last time I went,
I was only there for a weekend and we were trying to figure out stuff to do that didn't require a car.
We should buy one.
couple $1 million.
Oh, you're never gonna have that much money. We've like a pool table area and ginormous like dining area and a bar and then like really cool bathrooms behind the bar.
When I moved to Oakland, that was our debate. Should we get a loft, like a studio loft, and be in like town again?
Also, wait, are you kidding me? Were you not leaving till left?
What is this?
These are rest.
These are us.
No, I don't think so.
What? Alright. If they're not. Actually, alright, number 1, maybe the residential. Number 2, if they're not, they're expensive. What street? What fucking street is this? We're a block from where we live. These are literally just being built right here. We're 1 block right here.
I love it. It's awesome. It's like walk 2 blocks and just, you know, in a different part of the city.
Like, given what everything they're doing in marketing, I think they're gonna relocate all like the homeless facilities. Because you know why the homeless people are here?
South of Market is home to long-run large homeless shelters, so many homeless have had first-hand knowledge of the neighborhood. They have a sense of where to find a good place to set up a tent for a night or two. San Francisco shelters can house only 1/5 of the city's estimated 16,000 homeless. The area is also home to substance abuse clinics, and nearby folks know where to wait for dealers who bicycle or drive by to sell opiates or meth. Word of mouth and mobile phones play a part.
Hey, you know where I can like get like
What?
you know where I can like get
Try down there.
It's kept me alive too many times. It's kept me alive too many times.
$10 right now.
Brother, it's an attractive offer, but I really need it.
What do you need? Anybody can get work.
not doing it. That has nothing to do with it.
I really want.
Oh my god. Well, it's funny because I got into shit with him. Because
he was a fucking dick.
Well, no, he wasn't it. The thing is, look, the thing with me and Jake, it's the same one. I fucking gave him like fucking $400 worth of weed. He was coming back to me like every day with like fucking
Ganker.
$700. Hurry up, Ganker.
I think this is gonna like
You want Ganker?
it's always like set up.
Are you a ganker?
Oh yeah, it's 7 times.
Everything to a relative fair.
Don't be ganking. Dude, I ganked everything. We're ganking pickles.
Everything I can, bro.
Hey, you ever heard of the skanky
Oh,
pickle?
yeah. I think
Skanking is a dance.
city took over this.
We're changing our
Sidewalk July 1st. As night falls, especially on the weekends, the streets fill with locals and people coming into the area to visit friends, go to events, and party.
Drop me off in the alley. My Catholic, so fucking bad.
So what's the deal with this? You run it like with people? Same times. Every fucking weekend. Creatures of habit.
I mean, it wasn't even a problem. Like, I was just like, alright, dude. Yeah, go get your money.
So that record had more time on it. I don't know why.
I wouldn't know because I'm better than you.
Are you better than electronic dance music?
Unanimously is like,
The entire category.
Are you better than EDC? No.
For sure, yeah.
for sure, yeah.
Oh, bars in Mission. Yeah. And there are definitely some, I don't know, like the Independent, it is a bigger venue. It's not like just a bar that you can walk up to and get like random bands. But they do get great things. Yeah. They're gonna be
Maybe everyone else had the same idea as us. They show me follicle. And they're like, we're gonna gather a stamp for free. We're gonna get wasted. We're gonna catch food.
This would be good.
Me and fucking Daniel. no fucking talents people.
Joke.
That guy. He's on some money on the table. Yeah. He's really, he's like, that again.
He poured our shit for us. That's a respect sign too. Yeah, he comped one, dude.
That's awesome. Yeah. What's his name?
He pumped the fuck out. Yeah, I should have asked.
Okay.
I feel like I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it.
I guarantee there is. I guarantee there is. I guarantee there is.
How many times do you think we walked up and down the street?
In the seams amid this flow, the energy and emotions of relationships come to the fore, get cemented or fall apart, opened up by the lubrication of fun and substances.
So my cousin was telling me about this movie he saw. I just fucking snubbed it.
Okay.
Weedy, but.
Just hit me all of a sudden.
Okay. Brutal for her.
He can barely speak better. He can't. He knows prices. That's is he cute? Don't you know?
Will sex be involved? Who gets that?
No, it won't be.
How does that help you out?
I would like so, but she was fine.
He's hot. He's like,
No, I don't give a fuck. Like, I've met hotter guys than him, but like, just
He's like a
because
super
he's like,
aura. It's you
no,
that
okay. Just because he's like more mysterious or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever, okay? But it's just like. Hello? Hello?
What? I am fine. I'm not. Hello? Where are you at? Did I ever tell you I just wanted you?
A big dude, not like, you know, but like, like,
No! You're all like, that's what my
In my experience, why couldn't you send me flowers? Why couldn't you? Why couldn't I gave you 100 plants? I'm emotionally destroyed. No, you're not. You're not. Another man would have sent me flowers.
I will see that, but I'll have them over. I'll have some of my friends over. And this way they'll feel better about me, about themselves, about everything. So that's how I solve my problems.
You ain't never met a nigga like me. I'm talking about trying to touch your hand though. What's going on with my little nigga though? I'm out here, I swear to God.
Yeah. They were gone until like that.
yeah, those liberals, man, would not have that.
But it's funny because like one of the highest security like Denver prisons is in Denver.
See, that's how good kids. See what's not a kid. So, seems like Oshi came to get married really soon and get a kid.
Something that I never could have done.
Then he came back.
never mind.
What is his name?
Jared with a D.
Wait a minute. Dangerous?
Okay, no, no, no se está tomando mi leche.
والله يا ما نعرف عشان تحكي عليك شغلات مثلا خصوصيه قدامي لا تعرف راح اوصل لك بس شغلات طفيفه يعني مثل مره احنا على
Because you don't know what you're doing.
And then there is the rental apartment next door that holds blowout parties seemingly on a yearly basis.
Oh, we went there. Yeah, where was that?
Yeah. That's a haze.
Whatever. And John came to we had like a board meeting
Hey.
on the way out.
Okay. Hello.
And like I was like, oh, do you guys see plays?
You smell that too? I'm not gonna have you.
I was thinking about that before.
I'm watching, I'm like, it's not even clicking. It's like the first intro, right? The first breath.
I won't go to you.
Her dog ate my message. Her dog ate my message.
Passport. You had your wallet this time, right? When did that happen? Wait. You got the same wallet as him? BMW? Nick, call another Tesla. I have yet to get into another Tesla.
Things like actually
Are you working with my beta version? You guys ready for the new iPhone? $1,000. Guys, real talk though. Taylor's okay, the second one. No, the second one sucks.
The second one's so much better.
What? That's not dick. I'm just glad I got to go into one. Like, can we make a continuation of this? I want to go to Marla, Cooper's here.
it's so funny.
Yo, it's nice stretch.
Though the street is a public place, passerbys are rarely making public statements. Instead, they are engaged in intimate and often passionate discussions, be it with colleagues, friends, or an imagined audience in the mind of a person in an altered state. In South of Market, people increasingly conducted private business on both sides of the frosted and clear glass walls. The smartphone has profoundly affected the location of intimate conversations. South of Market's glass walls no longer demark a boundary between private and public. With a smartphone, someone right outside my studio may be in the most intimate and fragile communication with someone on the other end of that phone. Distinct subcultures rub shoulders on the sidewalks. It is not clear that these groups can even understand what each other's conversations are about. Passing groups may look alike but speak different languages or discuss rarefied content, unintelligible to others. The sidewalks are public spaces that are not gathering places, but rather rivers in which collections of people pass each other engaged in private discourse. They coexist in fluid motion and in close proximity. They tend to withhold judgment of each other. This is the street's public order, a coexistence of divergent ages, incomes, ethnicities, nationalities, sexualities, and subcultures. There seems to be a patience or acceptance of people who are different or struggling or singularly interrupting the sidewalk or even street traffic. But this might also be a kind of indifference, a sense that there is no rule about such behavior, so it's best to let things flow and avoid confrontations and not endanger oneself. On the other hand, South of Market streets do have confrontation, but they are silent and passive. These include the various tags painted onto building walls or onto the sidewalks or posted on telephone poles. Or there is the litter strewn on a sidewalk by folks picking through the garbage bins looking for food, cigarettes, needles, drugs, or perhaps just shiny bling. A mess indifferent to others who use that sidewalk. Occasionally someone torches things put out for collection. An old Christmas tree, a picked through garbage bag.
I would never even have thought of it.
And then there are the mentally ill or very stoned individuals loudly proclaiming on the sidewalks, aimed at no one, but not always. Slipping in through all of this are professional thieves breaking into building lobbies to steal Amazon packages. The homeless are not immune to robbery either, as some have been beaten up or knifed asleep in their street hovels by folks intent on stealing their stash. Many of these problems are not particular to South of Market, but found in other San Francisco districts and in other California cities. At the moment, South of Market is San Francisco in a microcosm. In the daytime, South of Market is centered on work. The nighttime brings out its antidote. It is as if this area's driven work life is balanced by its nightlife on an ongoing weekly basis.